All right. What is going on, guys? Happy Saturday. We made it to the weekend, man. And we have a very interesting topic, in my opinion, on just what to speak about today, man. Because this guy is everywhere nowadays. I don't know if, we're here to figure out why, right? Because this this leader of this African country called Burkina Faso is literally everywhere except the mainstream media, of course. And I wanted to do like a nice deep dive to get people kind of up to speed about who he is, what he's done, what he plans to do in the future, and to really understand like his impact, not only within the country of Burkina Faso, but also around Africa and around the world. He has such a renowned reputation for being a total game changer as far as African leaders. And people are saying that he is the reincarnation of a past leader of Burkina Faso. So I want to introduce you guys to someone. I don't have him live or anything. He's not going to be on the on screen or anything. But I wanted to do a nice introduction of Ibrahim Traoré. Okay, and I'm just going to do a quick intro uh, and just read a little bit of his bio from Wikipedia, and then we can do a deeper dive into how he rose to power and how he intends on changing his home country of Burkina Faso and his views on Pan Africanism because he's a Pan Africanist. So let's read. Ibrahim Traore, born March 14th, 1988. Damn, me and bro are almost the same age. Is a Burkinabe military officer and politician who served as the interim president of Burkina Faso since 2022. Traore took control of Burkina Faso in September of 2022, and I believe that was a military coup, if I'm not mistaken, ousting interim president Paul Henry Sandogo. Man, y'all got to give me some grace on these names, bro. Damiba in a coup d'etat. Okay, yeah, so it was a coup. At age 37, he is currently the second youngest head of state in the world. During his tenure, Traoré has sought to distance the country from its former colonial power, France, and played an instrumental role in founding the Alliance of Sahel States. Okay, so now we kind of get like a little bit of an understanding of how he rose to power, kind of, and why he is who he is. But the rest of this article here from Wikipedia, of course, goes into a lot more detail about that. But what we can kind of discern from this is that Ibrahim is looking to distance himself or distance his country from France. And he's doing that because he wants Burkina Faso to be independent, right? So literally the definition of being independent is not being dependent upon another entity. So he doesn't want to be dependent upon France. And from what I hear in the research I've done, he invested in agriculture to actually make sure his country is stable in as far as crops and the food that his country consumes, right? Because if you are heavily dependent upon your colonizing power, France, that literally contradicts the meaning of being independent. So that I totally understand that portion of it. And for him to be from the country and to lead the country, and for him to be called the reincarnation of one of their past leaders, that also, I believe the past leader that they're referring to, let me see if I can get his name. I forgot his name. I had it. It's Sankara. Let me actually check it out really quickly. See if we can find it. Sankara, Thomas Sankara. So they're calling him the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara. And Thomas Sankara was actually assassinated for having the same beliefs as Ibrahim Traoré. And that is why Ibrahim Traoré is in the news, is because people in the West, like leaders in the West, don't want him to continue what he's doing. They don't want to continue the uprising of African nations. They want to keep the African nations kind of confined to a box and continue to extract resources from Africa without having to really pay anybody for it. And Western countries are reaping the benefits of taking advantage of Africa. And they've been doing it for centuries, bro. 4 centuries, 4 generations. And Thomas Sankara was one of the first to say, no, we're not going to do that. And they killed him for it. So, or they deleted him for it. Oh, man. So I wanted to read just a couple of, well, I actually want, let's watch our video, man. Let's watch a video. Because I know Wode Maya actually went to Burkina Faso to meet this guy. And I don't think he had a chance to actually meet him. But this is a news video about it, or about him. So I want to watch it real quick and see if they give us any great information about it.
Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's 37-year-old military leader, has become a rising star across Africa, celebrated for his anti-colonial stance, bold economic reforms, and his rejection of Western influence. But in Nigeria, support for Traoré might now come at a cost. In Benin City, Edo State, Marxist activist and leader of the Talakawa parliament, Comrade Kola Edokpayi, has allegedly been arrested by operatives of the Department of State Services over a planned Pan-African solidarity rally in support of Traoré. Witnesses are saying that DSS agents stormed and ransacked his office before taking him and 5 others into custody. His wife was also reportedly denied access when she tried to visit him, and there are fears that he may have been moved to Abuja to face possible treason charges. Now, the Edo chapter of the Take It Back movement has also demanded his immediate and unconditional release, calling the incident a dangerous precedent for freedom of expression in Nigeria. Captain Traoré has been...
Bro, they really don't want people to be Pan-Africanist. They really don't want Africa to be together. You literally see people getting arrested for standing in solidarity with Burkina Faso's leader about Pan-Africanism. And that to me, that's crazy. Like, why wouldn't you want an entire nation named Africa to be together as one nation and share resources? Because Africa is one of the most, I think it is the most resource-rich continent on planet Earth. And they don't want us to be together. And that is the root issue here. And they're arresting people for it, which is absolutely bonkers if you really think about it.
Become a Pan-African symbol of hope and anti-colonialism and anti-Westernization. And he is a symbol. And so arresting this man for attempting to stage a peaceful protest in support of him, what does that say about us as a member of, as one of the countries of Africa? What does that say about our stance on unification and unifying Africa? But let's take a look at social media. I'll take 2 tweets on this. Kay says, if peaceful Pan-African solidarity is met with handcuffs, then we must ask whose interests are truly being protected.
That is a fire. That's a fire tweet. Like, for real.
Abisoye says, he was arrested because he was planning a protest for Traoré in Edo State. If he wants to protest for Traoré, he should go to Burkina Faso to do so. This is very interesting. Team, there have been a lot of people that have come out to say that Africa is so desperate for a wonderful leader that we're now.
Oh, dude, that's insane. For even trying to support Burkina Faso, you're arrested. That's insane. That's literally insane. And the leader of Burkina Faso was meeting with Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, China and Russia, who are our key enemies of the U.S. as far as the government goes, right? So that is another thorn in the Western government's back, is that he is trying to align with Russia and China, man. It's insane because they want the resources from Africa. Burkina Faso has a lot of gold, if people didn't know that. Burkina Faso has tons and tons of gold, bro. And I think this YouTuber here, Jude Bela, had made a great video. I watched it last night and it was incredible. And I subscribe to his channel. I think you guys should also subscribe as well. He does a great breakdown of of Ibrahim Traoré and Burkina Faso as a whole, and it kind of explains the history behind it. And I don't want to rip off his content and take and show you guys the entire video, but there were parts of it that I wanted to show you guys where they kind of showed. Let me see. To here, I'm supposed to have this stuff already queued up for you guys, so my apologies. Shoot. Hey man, all right, we're gonna watch a little bit of it. Watch a little bit of it. Hopefully he doesn't take it down for copyright. But shout out to Jude, and you guys should go subscribe. We're only gonna watch a few minutes of it, of course, just so you guys get a quick overview of what happened in Burkina Faso.
To neutralize a high-profile target, Captain Ibrahim Traoré is the subject yet again. A group of rogue soldiers is teaming up.
So this video essentially is about the Western, or America is trying to get rid of Ibrahim Traoré, and it's because they want the resources of Africa without having to pay. And Ibrahim Traoré is not letting the Westerners get these resources, the gold, the labor, all of this stuff that Africa is rich of and it has an abundance of. The West is trying to get it, and he is not letting them do it. And that is why they don't want him in power.
With jihadis, the same terrorists the army is supposed to be fighting. Their goal is to storm the presidential palace and plunge the country into chaos. And this isn't just talks. They've got inside help, access, weapons, and a clear timeline. But here's the interesting part. This is not the first time. It's not even the second. Since Traoré seized power in 2022, there have been at least 5 serious attempts to assassinate him, or over.
Damn, bro, 5 is crazy. That's not even once a year. That's like twice a year. And that's all because he's not aligning with the Western powers, bro. And this is what you get when you stand up against colonial powers like that. And it takes somebody with balls of steel in order to do so.
Through his government, from former presidents plotting in exile, to bribes offered to his own bodyguards, to rumors of foreign governments pulling the strings. So, who's really trying to kill Ibrahim Traoré? And why does it feel like the entire world has a stake in whether he lives or dies? I want to show you the timeline of events related to the coup and assassination attempts on Captain Ibrahim Traoré since becoming the leader of Burkina Faso in 2022. This will include identifying key actors involved in this plot, their sponsors, and operational bases. This will help us piece together clues as to who is really trying to kill this revolutionary.
So I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen this video. I saw the other one. This one is newer to me, and this is insane. I think he just released this today. This is absolutely bonkers, and it's a very well done video.
Leader and the geopolitical calculations influencing the situation in Burkina Faso. It happened in September 2022. This 34-year-old army captain, Ibrahim Traoré, had just pulled off something very few in Africa's modern history had done. Burkina Faso had already seen its government toppled that year in a military coup led by this guy, Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, with the civilian president removed for failure to address grave security concerns in the country. But just 8 months into his rule, Damiba was gone, exiled in the dead of the night, and in his place stood this young man, Ibrahim Traoré, promising to fix the country, something everyone before him had failed to do. His focus was stopping the jihadist insurgency tearing the country apart. This task, as noble as it sounds, came with a price. What Traoré didn't factor in was that his life would be on the line. Soon after being sworn in as transitional president of the ruling military council, unknown forces began plotting to take out Traoré. And while the junta has reported an incredible 18 attempts to take him out, we will focus on the 5 most serious of those attempts with...
Did he just say 18 attempts at his life in only 3 years of being in power? Bro, when I tell you that when you fight against the powers that be, the powers that have been like literally like in power, not to make a pun or anything, but to fight the powers at that be, that have been in power for centuries, generations, millennia at some point, they don't like that. When you ruffle the wrong feathers, you get the you get the vengeance of the full bird, right? So in this instance here, I think what is going to happen here, because I haven't done the research on the assassination attempts on him, only his history and how he came up to power in Burkina Faso. So my guess is that France is trying to assassinate him. That's just my guess. Let's find out.
each one more complex than the last, will begin in December 2022. Barely 3 months after taking power, whispers of a coup began to surface. A group of military officers, including high-profile commander Lieutenant Colonel Emmanuel Zongrona, were arrested for plotting to storm key state sites, notably the state TV station, military prison, and Traoré's own residence. The plan was being carried out by a team loyal to Zongrona. They had a codename, Green Mamba. The plot included a full-blown tactical operation to free Zongrona from jail and launch a counter-coup. But who is this guy? Lieutenant Colonel Emmanuel Zongrona is a former commander in Burkina's army, a veteran of the anti-terror campaign. Zongrona had been jailed in January 2022 under ex-President Kabore for an earlier coup attempt, but was freed shortly after Traoré came into power, only to quickly emerge as a rebel leader against Traoré. His co-conspirators included CW Charles Neboa and Sergeant Adama Traoré, who tried to spring him from prison, and
I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead, guys.
Including former intelligence officers who were secretly scouting the homes of Traoré and other junta leaders. According to state officials, these individuals aimed to assassinate leaders and spark chaos. This arrest, though low profile, uncovered something much darker. There were elements outside the country trying to sow seeds of discontent within the military. Around the same time, the French media went into an overdrive mode, putting out reports of rumored mutiny within the military. This caused tensions with the Traoré administration, leading to the government suspending the French news magazine, Jeune Afrique, in late September 2023. Thousands of pro-Traoré demonstrators rallied in Ouagadougou in support of their president. Then came the major coup attempt. On the 9th of September 26, 2023,
this is crazy.
Signals of a coup emerged when a pro-Traoré social media group called citizens to rally, and small anti-Traoré protests briefly erupted the next morning. By that evening, the junta announced it had thwarted a conspiracy by senior officers aimed at plunging the country into chaos. 4 officers were arrested and 2 fled. The officers detained included Lieutenant Colonel Sheikh Hamza Ouattara, commander of the Special Gendarmerie Legion, Captain Christophe Mega, Deputy Commander of the Gendarmerie Special Intervention Unit, Commander Abdulaziz Wauba, Head of the Army Special Forces, and Lieutenant Colonel Boubacar Keita, Director of the Civil Protection Institute. The 2 fugitives were later identified as former intelligence officers. One was a recently sacked intel chief, Lieutenant Colonel Seko Ouadraogo. All had significant roles in the security apparatus.
That is a lot, bro. That is a lot of information to take in. And I want you guys to go and subscribe to Jude's channel and watch the entire video. I just don't want to play this whole thing and then get hit with a copyright. But that is a lot of very interesting information that I missed. Yeah, he just released this 19 hours ago. So yeah, that's the reason why I missed it last night when I was doing my research, is because he released it pretty early on yesterday. So very interesting. Very interesting. They don't want this guy to be in power, man. And we can obviously tell from the coup attempts that have been attempted since 2022, since he got into power. And this guy is so important that he's meeting with other world leaders, world nuclear power energy, world nuclear powers, right? And for people, for an African leader to be so anti-colonialist, and for him to actually have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping from China, these are very powerful countries. And for the leader of Burkina Faso to meet these people and for it to make news is a big deal. And it's a big deal because he is fighting the colonialism of France. And the West wants the resources that Africa has, and Ibrahim will not let them have it. And that is the sole reason, bro. It's all over resources. It's all over resources, man. That's what this entire fight is about, and why it's making the news. And I pulled up the What Am I video. This was just posted yesterday as well. Almost at 1 million. Oh, holy. Almost 1 million views already. It was just posted yesterday. So shout out to What Am I, always a supporter of the channel. And back when I used to do reaction videos to his content, he would always show love and shout me out, which is amazing. And yeah, I think this part of the video actually shows the history of Burkina Faso. So this should also be a good introduction, a good informational piece that you guys can kind of take along with all the other pieces of information that were presented this morning, so you guys can see it here. So let's take a look.
following a military coup in 2022.
The people of Burkina Faso believe that he is the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara.
I'm beginning to see a replica or a replication of the late Thomas Sankara in him.
What do you think of your president?
Let's say I'm from the generation who got the chance to know Thomas Sankara.
Oh.
And I think I'm one of the luckiest generation. I am from the luckiest generation who is living life a second reincarnation of Sankara.
Oh man, we love him. We love him so much. He's the definition of a real leader. And his commitment to take us out of poverty and his commitment to take us out of insecurity is the main reason why we love him.
And I honestly, that is the part that gets me as well, is that the people of Burkina Faso absolutely adore this guy. And from what this man just said, you can kind of like understand why, right? To have the promise of lifting an entire country out of poverty and provide some type of stability after years of chaos and instability, you have got to do nothing but respect the leader of Burkina Faso for wanting to change things for the better.
And the way he thinks, the way he acts, the way he speaks, it's like Thomas Sankara. And what we will love, like, because what happened to Thomas Sankara, we don't want the same thing to happen to him.
Since the day I was born, I've never seen an African leader that is loved in his country and out of his country to the extent that the entire world is talking about him.
Traoré is not going to be like Gaddafi Amanda. We are going to stand in solidarity with Ibrahim Traoré Amanda.
Oh, I'm so glad she said that. And I hate that I keep pausing the video. I'm so sorry, guys. But we have to think about history, right? Because history does end up repeating itself, especially when it comes to things that involve governments or huge events like this. We've seen this before, right? This is a rerun episode of what happened with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, right? Muammar Gaddafi, for the people that don't know the real history behind it, Muammar Gaddafi had plans to liberate his people of Libya. They would give them, Muammar Gaddafi and the government would give free weddings to people of Libya, free houses to married couples. They would do all of this stuff to help his people, right? They would have like free utilities or something like that. And they had resources, right? They had oil. Ooh, oil. Ooh. In the US or the Western countries, the Western powers that be, wanted that oil, that good, sweet oil. And Gaddafi was like, nah, bro, we're not giving you our oil. It's in our country. Y'all got oil already. Y'all want more oil? Nah, fam, you're not gonna come here and get this oil. And then they went in there and they offed the dude and then stole and plunged his country into chaos. And that's exactly what they want to do here in Burkina Faso. But I think this time it's going to be different. And Ibrahim I think is going to be very well protected. And I hope that he ends up changing Burkina Faso for the better.
We are here today to celebrate and to upkeep the work of Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. We are in support of the president for the liberation of our black mother country, Africa.
Is really unprecedented.
We need to unite now. All our differences we must put aside. We are not our ancestors. This is our time. The time is now. Fight African. Fight for our brother. He has started. We need more leaders like him. The time is
Always thought uniting Africa would be extremely difficult, but never did I know that His Excellency Ibrahim Traoré will single-handedly unite Africans in Africa and in the diaspora.
Let's go, boy.
We are here today as African descendants in the diaspora. We are here supporting our African leaders coming together in one unity to show love, to show peace, to show joy and happiness to Mother Africa.
The work of our leaders must take a page out of Abraham Corrett's book that he have written now, The Changing of the Guard, to liberate our motherland.
I feel like the young man is breaking boundaries. The young man is doing an incredible job. Do you believe in the leadership of His Excellency Ibrahim Traoré?
Yeah, I believe in, because he said that, there are no country who develop under democracy. That is the truth. That's the real truth. Because if you see, you see those Middle East country,
yeah,
they are not democracy there. People, they are doing things according to their culture. And the way they think and the way they do things. We are not European, we are African. And we must...
Ooh, this man's spitting, bro. This man is spitting right now. I'm gonna let him keep talking, bro. Just for a second.
Do everything based on our culture. Based on our mindset, our own mindsets. You don't need to copy other people.
Yeah, I low key, I do agree with him. Because if you do look at a lot of countries that have a democracy, at least right now, bro, they're not doing that well. Like you look at Canada, you look at the US, you look at Europe. They're not doing that well, man, in a democracy. Look at Australia, not doing well at all. But then you look at countries like the UAE, you look at cities like Dubai, you look at other countries that don't have like that democracy set up. They are doing a lot better, bro, and they have a lot less crime. So I do agree with them to some degree that non-democratic countries typically do better. But man, I love democracy, bro.
A lot has been said about this man. And as an African creator on a journey to showcase African excellence, I guess it's time to visit Burkina Faso.
All right. Yeah. And I'm going to have you guys do your own homework. Go watch this entire video for What Am I. I really do miss reacting to What Am I's videos. If you guys were with me back in the day. But I'll be making a video about why I don't make reaction videos anymore separately. But I want to go into this right here. Where's the story that I had? I had the story, guys. Excuse me. Right here. Why Washington is worried about Burkina Faso's young revolutionary leader. And let me make it larger for you guys so you guys can kind of see it. And we're not going to go through the whole thing, just the important bits here. And I want to just read it really quickly. According to government statements, Traoré narrowly survived a foreign orchestrated coup attempt last month. Security Minister, Mahamadou Sana said that the military junta foiled a major plot to storm the presidential palace on April 16th. That was what? Less than a month ago? Crazy. The plotters, he said, were based in Ivory Coast, a Washington-backed neighbor, where American military presence has recently expanded. Ever since he took power in a military coup in September of 22, Traoré has been drawing criticism from Western governments, not least the United States. On my birthday, April 3rd, General Michael Langley, commander of U.S. African Command, AFRICOM, spoke before the Senate, accusing the Burkinabe leader of corruption and helping Russia and China establish an imperial foothold in Africa. AFRICOM, the Pentagon's regional command for Africa, coordinates U.S. military operations, intelligence gathering, and security partnerships across the continent, often framed as counterterrorism operations. On the day of the coup, The U.S. Embassy changed its travel guidelines for Burkina Faso to do not travel. Ooh, did we cover that on the Tuesday news? Oh, we did. Burkina Faso was on the do not travel list. Langley reportedly met with Ivorian Defense Minister, bro, these names are killing me. Tene Birahima Ouattara. Oh my gosh, bro. Numerous times this year, both before and after the coup. Since coming to power, Traoré has been systematically limiting the influence of Western powers in his country, W for him, calling it a matter of national sovereignty. In January of 2023, he expelled the French ambassador, calling the country an imperialist state. Crazy. 1 month later, he opened French troops to leave Burkina Faso. This helped spark a wave of other West African nations formerly part of the French Empire to do the same. Today, Mali, Chad, Senegal, Niger, and Ivory Coast have expelled French forces from their lands. President Emmanuel Macron responded by accusing Burkina Faso and others of ingratitude, adding that these nations forgot to thank France. Bro, what kind of statement is that? What kind of statement is that from a president? Bro, France? You forgot to thank France. For what, bro? For colonizing a country? Taking over his land? Pillaging taking over and just literally you gave them your language. They already had languages in the country and exploiting them. And you're saying they forgot to thank France? Is crazy work. Bro, L France for sure, bro. Traoré's administration has also blocked or expelled rumors Western government-sponsored media outlets, labeling them as agents of neocolonialism. Facts. Radio France International and France 24 were first, then followed Voice of America, Britain's BBC, in Germany's Deutsche Welle in 2024. These moves drew sharp criticism from Western organizations. Human Rights Watch, for example, accused the government of a crackdown on dissent. Yo, Traoré is not playing with y'all people, man. That's crazy. He does not want any smoke. Well, he doesn't want any smoke with y'all, man. He just want all the influence out of his own country. And I think that's a fair ask. If you ask me, if you colonialized my country, if you colonized my country, and I come into power and I want y'all out, and because we're an independent nation, I think that's a fair ask in my opinion. So let's continue with the article here. We're just going to read this last little blip here, and then we can move on to the next thing. Although formerly independent for over half a century, France maintains significant control over its former African colonies. 14 nations use the CFA franc, an international currency set at a fixed rate against the French franc and now the euro. This means that importing from and exporting to France and now Europe is very cheap, but doing the same with the rest of the world is prohibitively expensive. France maintains a veto over the monetary policies of the CFA franc, leaving African states economically dependent on Paris. Bro, wow, I did not know that. Traoré has described the CFA franc as a mechanism that maintains Africa in slavery. Whoa, I kind of agree, man. I agree, and has announced his intention to create a new currency. Oh, that's why the West doesn't like this dude. Along with Mali and Niger, Burkina Faso has broken away from the Western-backed ECOWAS regional bloc and established the Alliance of Sahel States, a pan-African union of states that sees itself as a top step towards a unified anti-imperialist Africa. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can see now, do you guys understand why the Western governments don't want this guy in power. They don't want him in power because he wants power. And people with power want what? They want more power. And when they can't have it, they get rid of the people that are stopping them from gaining more power. That's why people are fearing for this guy's life, because this guy is trying to literally break the chains of slavery from the colonists, bro, from France, right? Mainly here in this situation. But you got to think about, a lot of countries in Europe have colonized Africa. That's why you have countries that speak English. You have one country that speaks Spanish, French, even some that speak Dutch and German. That's why you have all of these African countries speaking the languages of countries in Europe, is because they colonized it, right? And for those countries to say, hey, we're independent now, right? Can we just not have you involved in any of our government affairs? And the European countries are like, nah, fam, we still own y'all. We're still going to control your currency, your economy, your government. We're still going to control all of that. And this one leader in Burkina Faso was like, nah, fam, we got it. We got it from here. We're good. But France won't let it go, bro. It's like a toxic relationship, and someone's involved with a toxic ex, bro. It literally is like that. It quite literally is like that. And so, unsurprisingly enough, guys, if you didn't know, this guy has a Twitter account. And holy. So I want to just read it. I haven't even looked at his X account at all. Let's see. So yeah, he's meeting with Putin right now. This was posted yesterday. He met with Putin yesterday, bro. This is why the West doesn't like him, bro. This historic victory is okay. So I think they're celebrating a holiday in Russia. I think it's like V-Day or something like that in Russia. But I attended the Grand Parade and wreath-laying ceremony on May 9th, marking the 80th anniversary of Russia's victory over Nazism. I pay tribute to the Soviet Army and Allied troops. This historic victory is a source of confidence for me in the wholehearted commitment of my country and the AES Confederation to winning the war against terrorism and imperialism at all cost. The security of our states and well-being of our population drive and guide our daily actions. I welcome the mutually beneficial partnership between Burkina Faso and the Russian Federation. Man, if you guys don't pay attention to what's going on in geopolitics, bro, y'all don't know what's really going on, man. Y'all don't know what's really, really going on. And this is just one of the stories that's happening around the world right now. They're not even talking about the mainstream media is not really talking about India and Pakistan being at war again. They're not talking about what's going on in the Middle East with them boys and and the other countries surrounding that one country. And yeah, the stuff we can't talk about on YouTube is going on still. But you guys can see his Twitter account, man. He tweets pretty consistently, man. It's in French, obviously, but he has some that are in English. But I think I had one more video. That's him meeting the people. Okay, I think this is it. Is this it? Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see today. We're gonna learn today. Let's find out.
In a world of suits, silence, and diplomacy, one man stands out with quiet defiance and raw symbolism. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, just turned heads in Russia, not with words, but with presence. And yes, it's the pistol on his waist that stole the show. From viral fame to
Hey, homie, stay strapped up, man. That's what you got to do when you got threats against your life worldwide. Yeah, you gotta keep that thing on you, man.
Political symbolism. Was it security, a statement, or something deeper? Welcome to Channel Name, where we unpack the...
All right, I think this is like an AI voice. So Just ignore that. But can you guys like look at the presence in the room, and you guys see that the other side of the room with nothing but like European people, they're like dressed up in suits and everything, and then you see Ibrahim right there giving them pounds, bro, like literally doing this in a military outfit, bro. That is an example of showing and displaying power and stoicism, bro. Knowing what you got in your homeland and knowing that these Europeans want that, that is another level of power. Knowing that you have something that the other party wants, that puts you in a very, very good negotiating position, and it gives you power when you come to the table and you're talking about relations with other countries.
Or something deeper. Welcome to Channel Name, where we uncover enigmatic meet Maduro of Venezuela, not with one of the most striking moments during Traoré.
Whoa, did I just see the leader of Venezuela?
It was his first diplomatic meeting.
Bro. Yeah, America does not like Venezuela, bro.
Not with a Western power or Russian oligarch, but with President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. The symbolism was powerful. 2 nations under sanctions, 2 leaders demonized by Western media, standing together in solidarity. Maduro, who greeted Traoré warmly, later told reporters he was very happy to meet President.
But Maduro is kind of terrible, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. He's kind of terrible.
Traoré. That phrase, simple on the surface, carried deep diplomatic weight. It marked a new chapter in South to West.
I don't think, this video is not a good one. My bad, guys. This is a terrible video. I think that's going to be it, man, for here. But I think there is an important part, because this video here goes through the history of Burkina Faso. And I did watch a large majority of it. And what's important is the leader that people think is reincarnated by him.
I think
that's a little bit too loud for you guys. And I think that's important too, to know the prior leader to Ibrahim Traoré that had his same ideals, that was unfortunately assassinated by the people that didn't want him to improve his own country, which is kind of crazy to me.
Post of prime minister. But within months, ideological differences start a rift in the ruling class, one they will not recover from. The tipping point came in May 1983, when irreconcilable differences led to Sankara's sudden arrest by men loyal to President Ouedraogo. This arrest sparks immediate protest, with a large crowd demanding Sankara's release. As tensions intensify, his supporters, sensing danger to his life, begin preparing for a decisive move. On August 4, 1983, in a swift coup, Blaise Compaoré and Commander Jean-Baptiste Lingani, 2 officers with ties to Sankara.
And at the time, guys, Burkina Faso wasn't named Burkina Faso. In the 80s, it was known as Upper Volta.
Seized key positions in the capital, effectively toppling the government. That evening, Sankara announced the dawn of a new revolutionary era. He is now the head of state at just 33. Under the National Council of the Revolution, CNR, Thomas Sankara sets out on a mission to change the fortunes of his people. He travels across the country, listening to the stories of his people and engaging with them on a possible solution to the many ills facing the nation. In August 1984, 1 year into his rule, Sankara renames the country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso.
Upper Volta, cela ne voulait rien dire pour personne, en particulier pour nous, Burkinabés. C'est un nom qui nous renvoie à un passé colonialiste. Par contre, Burkina Faso est un nom puisé dans le terroir même, qui a une signification dans notre langue. Qui veut dire patrie des hommes honnêtes.
He launches a
Homeland of the honest man. This guy right here, man, Sankara, the bad dude, bro. In a good way. In like, when you say, oh, that's bad, that means it's good. But no, he was a really, really revolutionary leader. From what I have been able to read and do my research on him, he was an exceptional leader, bro. He literally, I think he went to Morocco and did some military training for a period of time and came back to Burkina Faso and just took over. He was like, yo, we about to do it this way, X, Y, and Z. We're about to empower the people, empower the women. And they were like, no, we're going to delete you because we don't want that change. crazy world we live in, man. You want to do better for your people, do better for your country, and people strike you down for it. That's how you stifle literally any type of advancement in any country, which I find really weird behavior. I would always vouch for people that are trying to improve their own country, improve their people, improve the current place that they're at. Like improving should never be stopped or delayed or artificially halted, in my opinion.
Ambitious reforms, emphasizing self-reliance and social justice, massive vaccination and literacy campaigns, tree planting projects to combat desertification, and initiatives to advance women's rights. Sankara's administration also requires officials, including himself, to open their finances to public scrutiny and cut luxury perks for the elite.
It's a little bit too fast.
These radical policies win him the love and support of his people. Soon, his influence goes beyond Burkina Faso. The country becomes known across Africa for the revolutionary leadership of Sankara. At the international front, he gives powerful speeches that resonate with other young Africans in search of honest and committed leaders for their own countries.
Notre conférence adopte la nécessité de dire clairement que nous ne pouvons pas payer la dette. Non pas dans un esprit belliqueux, belliciste. Ceci pour éviter que nous n'allions individuellement nous faire assassiner.
He's not afraid to criticize the colonial powers and challenge their policies that have kept Africa poor. This wins him lots of enemies, but it also makes him a notable figure on the global stage. However, not everyone is happy to see Sankara rise so high with so much love and affection, both home and abroad. Some traditional authorities, middle-class professionals, and external powers, notably France and Ivory Coast, who felt threatened by Sankara's rhetoric and alignment with socialist states, would soon start plotting against him. You see, one of the things that...
If you guys have been paying attention this entire stream, you understand that history repeats itself over and over again until real change happens. And we can see with Sankara, he had the same enemies as Ibrahim Traoré to assassinate him, right? Ivory Coast, France. These are continuing to be repeating stories with revolutionary leaders, right? Especially in Burkina Faso. We literally can look at videos, articles, research. France has troops in neighboring Ivory Coast and try to get rid of any type of revolutionary leader that is trying to change Burkina Faso for the better. It's happened with Sankara, and this exact same thing, in addition to America having troops there as well in Ivory Coast, trying to take out Ibrahim Traoré. And I hope that history does not continue to repeat itself and Traoré is succeeded by someone else. But I hope Traoré keep safe, bro, because these governments, bro, when they want you, they get you. They can get you.
That sets Sankara apart from other past leaders of Burkina Faso is his refusal to accept foreign aid.
Yeah.
He instead focuses his attention on what he can control. His government spends heavily on agriculture, believing it to be the cornerstone of Burkina Faso's development. He believes that the nation's economic future depends on its ability to feed itself and improve the livelihood of its population. This bet pays off. His agricultural revolution leads to a 75% increase in cereal production between 1983 and 1986. But it is on the international stage that Sankara really threatens former colonial powers. He is wary of foreign aid that comes with strings attached and consistently refuses to seek assistance from the International Monetary Fund, fearing that its conditions would undermine his revolutionary goals. Sankara's foreign policy was also characterized by a strong commitment to Pan-Africanism. This stance earns Burkina Faso respect and new...
You guys see the ongoing theme here? Do you guys see it? Do you guys really see it? It's the same ideals as Ibrahim Traoré. Pan-Africanism. They don't want that. The people that are currently in power don't want Africa to be one, bro. Because they know that Africa, once they come together and they understand their own power, what resources they have in their own continent, they know they're not going to let that stuff go, bro. They know that the West wants everything that Africa has, and they will do anything in their power to exploit or continue to exploit Africa for the gains in the West and leave Africa just like destroyed, right? So they impoverished, destroyed, even though they're the richest, it's the richest continent on planet Earth, yet it has some of the poorest human beings in the worst living conditions on Earth. To me, that disparity is unforgivable. And I think that Pan-Africanism, it should be a real thing now. For Africa to control its own resources, I think is a very small ask. That is the same as if a police officer tried to come into your house unannounced, wanting everything in your refrigerator because you have all the organic stuff and all they have is conventional outside of your house, bro. That makes no sense. What's in your country or what's in your house should be yours. Nobody should be in control of it. Nobody should barge in and try to take it from you. And I think it's an insane way of thinking for Western countries to think that they can just own everything on Earth when they actually don't.
Allies, but it also generates tensions with Western powers and conservative African governments, especially those with close ties to France. Amongst them are Mali, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire. As Sankara's revolution deepens, divisions emerge within the ruling CNR. Soon enough, foreign powers are able to influence his close allies like Blaise Compaoré. Sankara, who had once trusted Compaoré, is now increasingly alienated by his former friend's growing wealth and ambitions. Soon enough, with international support from Cote d'Ivoire, France, Libya, and even the United States, Compaoré cultivates a loyal cadre of commandos that would strike the final blow to the revolution he had started with his friend.
Crazy.
On October 15th, 1987.
It be your best friends that stab you in the back, man. That's why you really have to keep watch about the people that you keep in your circle. You keep a very small circle and you got to trust that circle, bro.
Blaise Compaoré stages a coup d'etat against his former friend, citing deviations in the revolution and alleging that Sankara was jeopardizing foreign relations. During a bloody takeover, President Sankara and at least 12 members of his close council are brutally murdered in cold blood, marking a tragic end to the revolution. In the days following Sankara's assassination, thousands of Burkinabe wept at his graveside. The coup shocks Africa. Sankara, the continent's outspoken anti-imperialist voice, is silenced, and the circumstances of his killing and potentially foreign involvement remain contentious for decades. Subsequently, many of Sankara's former comrades who refused to support the new regime are hunted down like dogs. Some are detained.
Bruh, that's crazy work. That is crazy work. I'm going to have you guys watch this whole video here. This is a very, very, very well done video by Jude Bela. Another one, actually. So I want you guys to go subscribe to Jude's channel. Go watch this entire video in full. You can just do a search for Ibrahim Traoré, Jude Bela in YouTube and you'll find it. This is probably one of the most well done videos I've seen on Ibrahim Traoré. And I've been doing my research for the past like week or so on the country and the president or the captain. And this was an incredible, well done video by him. So I think that hopefully I gave you guys like a really good overview of the issues here and why Ibrahim Traoré might just be the new African giant, bro. The best, one of the best leaders in Africa, and he's poising Burkina Faso to be the first truly independent African nation. And hopefully he is the catalyst that helps bring upon the real Pan-Africanism and makes Africa one big continent. Like, I think Australia is like a continent country. Hopefully they can make Africa a continent country. We don't know. We don't know how it's going to happen, but I think we're in the right direction. We're stepping in the right direction when it comes to uniting Africa as one. And I think he's going to be able to do it for us, man. I hope so. I really do hope so. Because from what I hear, man, traveling within Africa is extremely difficult and expensive. So hopefully when it's one continent united, it's going to free up everything. You know, any African passport can travel within Africa. I think that's fair. To me, I think that's fair, right? But that's enough for me, man. I got to get off my soapbox and do the outro for you guys, because I think I covered as much as I can within about an hour's time on here. So I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you guys have never heard my voice, never seen my content on YouTube, let me just do a quick introduction of myself. So my name is Jay. My YouTube channel is called Trippin with Jay. I also have a podcast called the Trippin with Jay podcast, and that is available everywhere podcasts can be listened to or downloaded from. So you just have to search for Trippin with Jay podcast. It should pop up on every single platform. And this is going to go up as episode 3 or 4 from what I believe. I think episode 3. This will be episode 3. And I just put very important topics on the podcast, and I do the guests, the interview that I do with my guests on the podcast as well. So you guys should go ahead and subscribe, follow the podcast, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are not already subscribed. And we mainly focus on live streams that involve travel. Tuesdays, we do travel news, any important news that involves travel. Thursday is something that is a super short topic, something that's super viral for the week. And then Saturday is for the real stuff, where I can actually dedicate an hour plus to a specific topic that I think is very, very thought-provoking and interesting, in my opinion. And the really good ones I post to the podcast, and you guys on YouTube get everything else. So I really do appreciate you guys supporting, tuning in, and staying to the end. So it does not go unappreciated at all. And if you guys have anything to say about this topic here, leave some comments in the comments below. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And again, my name is Jay. You've been Trippin with Jay. And that is it, guys. I really do appreciate it again. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Peace.